I was bouncing alternate dates through flights and rentals to see if anything was significantly cheaper to make a difference on our, like, to persuade us to go another weekend. I think you must have done a considerable amount of research on the flight department because that just happens to be the cheapest weekend for flights.
I didn't know. I just picked a weekend and threw it out.
Okay, so yeah, I bounced weekends in the month of March and April. That's the cheapest one for flights.
Okay.
Which is not saying much because it will be the most expensive flight we've had up any of the trips.
At this point, unless it's something absurdly expensive, I don't really care.
Yep.
Chris was bummed that we decided to go to March, making it sound like if we were going to do
July
that he was going to be in. If that's the case, if Spencer can't swing March, and he said, I talked to him today a second time. He said, I know I got to let you guys know as soon as possible so we can either book or not book or book for July.
Yep.
But either way, if we push it to July, are we going with a 5-man crew?
That I had
problem.
that thought the minute you just said that because I'm like, now we have 5. And do you want to know who else is in that chat who's interested in going?
Did Parker call you?
We talked about it at work.
What'd he say?
He said, I'd be down. He's like, obviously I'd need to learn everything,
We need to get him out here then, at least doing the rope stuff. Yeah. And Noah, you've kind of talked. You and I have talked in the hot tub about these trips, doing these trips in some realm.
Oh, me?
Yeah, not the one in like 2 weeks or 6 weeks, but just like in
general,
inevitably, like
in some capacity,
getting involved once you've got like some time and coin. If July is a thing and everyone's in, we got to get 2 cars. And that'll be even more optimal though, because if we get 2 Jeeps, then there's more room per Jeep.
So much more.
And it makes the logistics are a little heavier with more people, but everything's split further.
Yeah, so the only net downside that I see to having more people is the time in the mine will increase from people going up and down every ladder or rope.
Right.
And that's
going to be tough. 6 people is a lot.
I think if we kind of if we double checked the math and all of our ratings, our rope ratings, I don't see a reason why we couldn't do 2 people up at a time. The second man would just have to keep his, it cannot look up, obviously, because of potential dust, debris, things falling. But where it's not, there's not going to be a conflict of like knocking things loose. Maybe it's a clean ladder, or even jumaring, ascending. You could double. Those ropes are good for 4+
right
of our size.
If we in a situation like Mohawk where it's a complete free rappel situation.
Yep.
I don't see if we have 6 people that all 6 people would even go down, to be totally honest, unless it developed into something far beyond what we anticipate. I think in a situation like that, it'd be the people that like me and you that would just go down because we can get down pretty quickly. We can get up pretty quickly versus everyone needing to go down and then walk the 50 feet just to get the thrill, but it burns 2.5 hours up and down.
Now, let's say you made that decision and it was you and Chris, you and Spencer, Chris and Spencer who are going down. There's no way you're telling me I'm not going down. That, you know what I mean? I want to do that rappel and the climb out. You know what I mean? Like that, I want that experience.
In that situation, though, I suppose there's a little bit more nostalgia to it because we were there and we threw a rope down. We've got a feel for it. But the first expedition in Defense Mine, we just sent Spencer down.
Right.
Now, a lot's developed since then, for sure.
I just feel like everybody will have a desire to do that.
I mean, then at that point, we just got to start making hard decisions to say we can all go down this
But we're
rappel,
sacrificing
but
on the tail end.
we're going to pay
time.
for it over here.
Yeah.
And I think depending on what that alternative would be, would probably overturn. Now, what we would do is send someone down. Of course, you'd have a radio and you just say, hey, like do a quick survey. And if, hey, it just connects with that one spot, you can't really cross it. There's nothing really here. It's just a big, vertical. Then we get out of here, honestly.
Yep.
Because I would know if we did that and we've got something like Stockwell and Gold Bottom after.
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, we send one representative down. That's good enough for the total company. You have a GoPro of it. We'll be able to see it later. Do I want to do a rappel like that? Yeah. But I can go tie up a rope in here too and get the same thrill in some degree.
Right,
Like it's not worth it for me.
I agree. It is the exact same as that 20 foot out there in the warehouse.
And
it's the same vibe as the mine shaft.
You know
the
that, you
tracks.
It's the same thrill of a single thing. And so, but that's that's going to need the 70 meter rope.
Yeah.
Because we threw the 40 down and it was about somewhere of a couple feet. And then by the time you get that tied off,
right.
It's
cutting it close there on the bottom.
But this upcoming, whether it's in March or whether it's in July, we're going to do the fly to Vegas, do the Jeep.
Yep.
Everything's going to be status quo. Get to Gold Bottom. That's the first stop. Now, is that the one that had prior anchor bolts in the wall? I believe it is.
It is. It has the bolt itself. It has the bolt
in the wall.
Correct.
Above that ladder system.
It had two bolts.
Right.
And then I have I have the ring that attaches to the bolt. Then as far as bolt size, I would just bring every metric and standard nut that's this big, you know what I mean, within that realm to make sure I had the correct nut to secure it.
Would you bore a new hole? Would you
We have to do another one.
Right.
We would attach to the one that's in there and just do a weight test on it.
Already in the wall.
Yeah, the one I would like to see, because if it's already in there and I can make that a safety, that'd be sweet.
For sure. Now, that means we're going to have to fly out with the
bolting
drill,
gear.
all the gear to do that.
Which it'll be significantly less than the first time.
Why is that?
Because I've learned a little bit about the bolts that I need. I do not need massive 6-inch, half-inch anchor bolts. I need, I can get away with a 1/4-inch bolt. There's a guy online who has a site dedicated to climbing gear that he makes himself, and he makes his own bolts and his own everything, and gluing kits and stuff. I would just acquire some of his gear. There are 1/4-inch bolts that will do the job. They're much smaller, much lighter. And when we flew out there and I was ready to bolt the first time, that was the first time I came with an excessive amount of bolts and everything I needed. Like, it was just ridiculous. Now, having been in there, we might bolt a couple of times, and I was ready to bolt our way down every single rappel.
So in that situation, the drop is offset from the wall that the bolts are on,
mm-hmm.
which, if we're going to assume that those bolts at the time were reliable, they can be pulled away from the wall. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So it doesn't have to be pulled perpendicular to the bolt. Like
it's better.
The tension. It's better, but it's not.
But the way it's designed is
breaker.
a wedge anchor.
Okay.
So it gets pushed in, and then as you tighten the nut, the wedge gets pulled and it expands and it grabs on the inside. So
okay.
We use them in the construction field Oh, and they have a pretty high rating for weight.
And then bolt that. We're going to run into some sort of a rope rub.
Yeah.
At that point, we're just going to get one of those sleeves to go over and
the rope itself. Right.
Right.
Yep.
And then the last thing I was thinking of is there a criteria for the distance between drilled anchor bolts in a type of rock?
Yeah, well, the type of rock absolutely matters. There's a skill to bolting, and you have to sound the rock itself with like a hammer or something. You know, you're going to be clinking on the rock. You're going to be listening to the pitch of the rock itself to be able to determine the how solid the rock itself is. You know, and you're looking for solid rock to bolt into, because you don't want to drill into any sort of loose lime, sand, dirt, vein split rock, you know.
So we'll do that drop. There's also an ascension on that mine, almost right above that, or at least nearby, right?
Yep.
And this mine has more sediment on the outside than any other one we've seen. And the only eyewitness testimony we have is Red, who said, quote, miles and miles.
Miles and miles.
So if he's half wrong, there's a mile, which is more than we've ever done.
Well, when we entered from the bottom of that mine and we traversed in, that alone was the furthest we've ever gone into a mine. And we never even made it all the way from the bottom. And the mine, you know, the top of that mine where we went up, blew our tire, investigated up here when we were like, we're not sure. We came back down, we found the entrance. That whole hillside slopes like this, right? And then we went in and we kept doing this, and we kept working our way up. And we were working our way up in the direction of the top of that mine. We didn't even get remotely close. If that goes all the way up. Real quick, we're just going to take a break and do a quick break for our sponsor, Monster Energy Drink, specifically the White Monster.
You gotta pay your
It
tax.
is the official sponsor of the Death Valley Water Company trips.
This stuff is unreal. Unbelievable. Gold Bottom. And then we'll hit Stockwell. And that's day one. Gold Bottom's going to take us till probably 2 p.m.
Yeah. Gold Bombs, you think only 2?
Maybe, certainly longer. But I think we're going to start it sooner than we started the Ruth. And I think I'm budgeting probably 6 hours.
Okay.
And so that would put us at maybe a 10 a.m.
Yep.
No, 8 a.m. 8, 9. Maybe if we got started by 9, we'd be done by 3. That's crazy, dude. 6 hours. We already know the drill as far as the beginning. We're pretty much going to go right to that drop like we did last time. I suppose we tried to go up at the roof. But go in, and then we're going to anchor. And then I think I was talking to Spencer about this, which is there's a gap from the surface of that drop to maybe 15 or 20 feet before a ladder section begins.
Yep.
So I told him, dude, like, I'm just going to run like my belay down to that, and I might pop that off and just run a Prusik and almost just use it as a guide going down. Just zip down. And if something goes totally haywire, it'll still grab me. But trying to just wrestle with my gree on the way down is, I think, a little unnecessary. And then, I mean, I don't remember seeing the bottom of that one. I'm sure if I went back in video, it's there. But nevertheless, that's going to be a big drop. And then we've never had to go up without a ladder system before. And I don't know how we're going to figure that out. Whether go back to the spot at the top where you were and Spencer, and then try to find a means to go down. But that mine will take us 6 hours,
Yeah.
and then we got to pay Red a visit.
Yeah, we got to count at least an hour for that.
Mm-hmm. And then we have to decide if we're going to do Mohawk or if we're going to
Explore.
just keep going
Do some
to
recon.
Stockwell.
Oh, Stockwell.
We'll Stockwell after that. But I think we'd still hit Trona,
Yep.
fuel up, get some food, do the thing. That seemed to work last time. And then hit Stockwell.
Yep.
Stockwell, I don't think there's going to be any rope work involved. At least I don't remember. No, I take that back because there's that one large opening, wasn't there? Or am I confusing Gold Bottom?
Now I'm getting confused as well.
I think I'm confusing it with Gold Bottom because it was all a blur. We did them back to back. Stockwell, we went up.
Yep.
The wood timbering system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of when I was talking about.
That's the one you're talking about at Stockwell.
The one.
No, you're turned around.
I am
The
turned
one
around.
we
That
popped the tire on was Gold Bottom.
Okay, so then I'm
Which-
thinking Gold Bottom because
which-
Gold Bottom was the one.
Even still, one moment. Even still, there was a slight decline as we were going into the mountain at Gold Bottom. And then it went up. So we were already significantly lower on the mountain than the top opening we found.
Yep.
And we were just continuing to go down, 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 down
Yep.
for a couple 100 yards.
Yep. And then
before
it did that,
anything happened, before the mine developed into anything and scattered
Yep.
into different spots. But the Stockwell was almost exclusively a timbering system as far as going up and down levels.
Yep.
You walk in the main, I think it splits once, twice, and then it's just there's 3 or 4 spots to go up. Now, the one we chose in our recon took us all the way to the top, but there was a moment that proved to be a little sketchy.
Yep. And the mine. That's when me and Spencer split up from you, right?
Right.
And then we went up another 1 or 2 level. Probably we went up 1, 2. We went up another 2 levels. And there was more to see. There were more levels to discover. So we made up to this one level. And there were still chutes coming down into the where we were at. There's still evidence of levels above. And we didn't make it to the end of anything up there.
Is it realistic to get up going that way?
Yep.
Okay.
Did it feel a little sketchy doing it for the first time? Only slightly. Like there's nerves because you're wondering about the integrity of the structure you're on that's been there for 100+ years. And who knows how long it's been since someone's been on it. It's been there for a while, right? It's old. But everything felt... It's surprising how integral everything feels. Like even some of those old ladders, it's just... They're solid.
Were you suspended on timbering for the total duration, or were there parts where you're back onto rock?
There was... To get from where we left, and we did the climb up,
Yep.
there's a spot where you climb off of the timbering into like a side chute, like a shaft that just, a horizontal shaft, and then you use that to step back up and over back onto the timbering, and then you climb up and you make it to the next level. And once you get up there, there's no more of that like that shaft structure that we climbed up, then it's solid ladders to go up after that.
Okay.
Now,
What was the sketchy part? There was a distinct moment
The
the timbering.
because you had to
Once
you
you
had to
get-
crawl on that board probably 6-7 feet over a pit. Yeah, it's hard to tell how far down it goes because you can't see, but it was sure death if you fell, like if something gave way, right? So that was the sketchy part, like making it to that part of the structure. Now I wish you weren't here for this. Making it to, oh man.
It's all right. I've told Noah this before.
Making it to that like shaft structure that kind of went up.
Making back into that.
So
you
in
get
the
up
very
to-
beginning.
You go all the way up. You split off.
Yep.
That's where I was chilling. You kind of hop through the wall a little bit. It's a weird cutout.
Yeah, that's the only sketchy part.
But then you circle back around, right?
Yeah, because you could get up there, then you get, and we're just a whole level up.
Yep. Are
And
you
it's
back over that ladder that we climbed, or completely different?
Completely different
Okay.
ladder. And I think it goes down as well as up, and we only went up. The ladder we went on.
I see. Now, is that the same ladder that you thought was also one of the ladders from the ground floor that we skipped?
No, I couldn't be sure
Okay.
because we were the adrenaline from that exploration was like, it was high. It was exciting. That mine was so cool. And we had gone up and over and up, and we'd gone up several levels by the time we got to that point. And so I kind of lost my place in the mine by the time we made it to that point. I couldn't have told you like our position in the mountain as opposed to where we came in at.
Interesting. So that's going to take us quite a bit of time to explore.
Yeah.
And then we're going to enter day 2, the recon day. And if we get those 2 done, which I have no reason to believe we won't, we pretty much did everything in that valley there.
And then we'd head towards Cerro Gordo,
Yeah.
that direction.
Well, we have options. So, these are all the ones we've hit. This is like Ruth and Mohawk. Yep. This is Gold Bottom Stockwell. That's Defense up there.
Yep.
This is like our, let me see, where's our, that's like Big 4, right? Yep. That's what we come down and do. So we can either start looking over here, which I know is going to be a good spot.
A honey pot.
Which, that's my vote, is more southeast.
Which is where Cerro Gordo's at, right?
Is that the dude?
Yeah.
No.
He's
on the other side. The Ruth mine is in the Argus Mountains. That's the mountain we drive up. So we drive in from the east.
Yep.
His spot is on the west, north of us. It's almost like behind Defense Mine, but even further north, I think.
One day.
Oh, it's inevitable.
It'll be cool to stop in and talk to him.
It's inevitable, but stopping in is a distinct, we're going to his thing.
Correct.
Which is going to be a hike. It's far. It's really far. And let me see.
Which is why I'm a fan of shooting him a message to make sure he'll be around, because it would stink to drive all the way over there and him not be there.
That would be bad. Oh man, I was mistaken. He's not even in that mountain range, dude. He's in the Inyo Mountains, which is
he
far.
He seems like such a cool
He's
guy.
A legend for
Just
sure.
Just a cool guy, super chill, the nicest guy. He reminds me kind of, in a way, of David Bollinger.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. So if we go southeast, of in the park, in the valley. That puts us
The disrespect.
unbelievable. That puts us about 2 hours away from Vegas.
Finish it.
So when we recon that, which I know for a fact, there's some good stuff there. I'm not confident how much rope work. That's the only thing.
It's okay.
And granted, not everything's about rope work, but every stud here
Oh, wow.
is something we can hit.
Yeah, the rope work, essentially, we trained for it, for in the event we need it. And it is really fun, but it's not necessary. If we don't need it, we're still hitting mines. It's about the mines.
When we do that, we're going to spend a decent amount of time getting over to that other spot.
So much recon.
And then we're just going to hit the ground. I don't know. There's a couple spots that look like it might take, depending on washouts and roads and how far we can push our Jeep. I mean, we're going to have to go on foot. There's just no way we're not with how many spots and how far up the mountain. But now when we go, we've never done recon with more than 3 people.
Yep.
So now
could you imagine if we have 6 people in 2 Jeeps?
Might be the move.
Because we could so we would set the rule as far as the recon rule where, sure, if you find it and you want to explore it a little bit, but you got to put a time limit on, you're not going into the mine like we did on our last recon. We could then split up in teams and tackle areas. Everyone would be briefed on what you're looking for in these mines. Like you're going to get in that first level. You're going to look for ups and downs. You're going to, figure out the deposit side and the size of the extra, rock that's on the outside. Like get the potential of the mine, jump in there, pinpoint ups and downs, calculate the potential of, and get out onto the next one. And we could cover a lot of mines splitting up like that.
That could be huge. That could be...
Which would save us all from going to one and it being a dud and then having to go to the next one.
And then having to all convoy. Take 2 hours to get 2 Jeeps. And you're having to drive a Jeep over a spot, jump in theirs, do the same thing. But if we split up, there's no way it's not going to be you, Parker George, me, Chris Spencer. That's just probably the way it's going to end up.
Yep.
Because then I don't see you not being with George. I don't see me not being with Spencer. You, Parker, Chris, and now you're the representative with them. You know what to look for. So now there's trust and confidence in those reasons you just gave. So you know what's worth hitting.
Yep.
We'll still, everyone's got film, so it's still documented. We can, see it later, but that's the more realistic way that we're going to actually hit these larger regions and get them done in saving us an entire trip.
Yep.
Because not every recon is going to look like finding Stockwell and Cold Bottom. Some of them are going to be, we did this entire area and we're not coming back.
And it'd be cool because then we'll get the footage of making it to the mine, documenting the outside. And if it's a dud, even you can just get the whatever infrastructure is left, the bones of whatever's left over and cross it off. But then as a crew, as a team, as DVWC, these are things that we've knocked off in the portfolio.
I got to get George, give him a crash course on his camera so that he can
get some crazy footage. So
he can shoot in a way that complements what I'm shooting as well.
Yeah.
Because having anybody else with film gear is probably the biggest gap that I feel, because of course no one's forcing me to do anything. I want to film this stuff.
Yeah.
But there's things when they happen, I know if I don't pull out a camera to film this, at best it's going to be filmed on a GoPro.
Correct.
Which is fine in some sense, but
the difference.
I'm like, I know when I went through so much effort to haul this equipment out here, and the gear management, batteries, cars, like there's so much to it that when something's going down, whatever it may be, as insignificant as it may seem, there's always this like weight of like, all right, I gotta like almost step outside of the trip a little bit and capture what's going on.
And is George's camera there? Like,
oh
that,
yeah,
that level?
yeah, his is legit.
Sweet. Of course,
His
it
is
would be. It's
legit.
George.
He
he's
doesn't.
not.
Yeah, he's not messing around.
He isn't shy about anything.
But I gotta, like I said, I gotta give him a crash course on it because he didn't sound too confident in his abilities.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, that's because
But
he's comparing himself to you, and even Paul compares himself to you. Paul, when he shot this video, he said something about like, he just mentioned something about you, like, you know, you could have probably done. He's like, he said, I can't remember, it was funny though to me. I was like, you know, he's like, he said something that I realized that he views you in your ability up here. And I was like, yeah.
There we go. Cold weather system. If we end up going in March, that's going to be a huge factor. If we, and I really feel like Spencer's an 80-20, 80% going, probability going. Should that happen and we do the cold weather situation, based on the flights we have out of Flint, we're going to go land. He's already going to be there. Mm-hmm. You're going to get the Jeep, basically coordinate with him, get him with all the supplies from the store, load up and drive out. By the time we get there being the mine, we have to just set up camp and prioritize a good night's sleep.
Yep.
And historically we haven't done that.
Well,
Historically
no,
we get there and go.
I was thinking about the sleeping bags. I've been watching videos and reviews on sleeping bags and pads. I'm like, that's another $1,200.
Yeah, seriously. And what we learned from our second expedition is that sleep matters big time. And we've got enough. What's happened on maybe 3 occasions, I can't remember what we did on the most recent one in September, but nevertheless, we go having an expectation of staying 2 nights in the desert, and we only ever stay with 1 because we burn ourselves out.
Yep.
And I think the reason we burn ourselves out is because we're trying to live off of beef jerky and the worst soup in the world. And we're getting and our sleep setup's atrocious. You know what I mean? Like, we're white knuckling it. We're already sleep deprived when we show up because of the time change. So we're immediately thrown off. And again, we can white knuckle that for 36 hours.
Yeah, we are fueled by adrenaline and White Monster.
Yeah.
And then we can't pull it gets to a point where we can't pull any energy out of that anymore.
Everything goes haywire. Like I know for me, my like discernment is not trustworthy. Is our risk assessment collectively suffered big time at Ruth first time. And that's all based off of our lousy night's sleep.
The whole risk assessment part of this trip is complicated because you have to weigh this is what we came for against we might not come back. You know what I mean? So that's always a very interesting dynamic, you know, because I want to take advantage of every possible opportunity. I want to see everything. I want to make sure there's no door unopened. And then you just want to make sure that at the same time, you're like, we all got to come home.
Where's your line?
Man,
You personally,
I think it's higher than it should be.
you're willing to go further than you think is
maybe. But the thing is, like, if I feel comfortable, that's the thing. Like, I think what I'm comfortable with, but it's really hard for me to be confident because I'm confident about what I'm not going to do anything I'm not confident about. But how can I be confident about a structure that I know nothing about? It might feel good under my weight, but that doesn't mean 10 steps out I didn't shift something and the whole thing's not going to come down.
And if we have 6 people going across round trip, puts 12 different times there's stress
for
points
every
on
crossing, every ladder, every plank.
Now, most of the time, I think that's a rare situation in which it comes down to one lone piece of timber and there's nothing else. There's no contingency. Now, in a situation like that, when we came across it on our first expedition in defense, we just threw a rope across, static rope, basically as a hand railing, which was enough of like a contingency, but
it's not solid. Like, there's still a lot of risk even if you fell, but what it did do is it allowed for like a balance assist, right? So let's just say you're walking without that rope and you get a little shaky and you get a little lean without that rope, but with that rope there, you can grab it and it assisted enough to where you could, push off of it and, get a little more sturdy in the feet. Wasn't much,
but it was anchored down that if something gave way, I believe it would hold.
If you could hold on to that rope, that rope was
it.
going to hold you. I 100%.
And in a situation like Stockwell, are we going to find ourselves utilizing a system like that, or even those small sections? Because that's what we got to ask: is the risk enough to justify somehow anchoring a rope? The shortest one we have is 40 meters. It's a 7-foot situation.
The shortest one I have is 20, but I was also thinking about those short rope possibilities where I was thinking about acquiring maybe just 2 or 3 10 meters, which would not take, that's 1 30-meter rope. So that doesn't add a whole lot. And one more person will carry a rope. You know what I mean? Because I don't think even all of us now will carry a rope because we know we don't use as much.
Right.
So one more person has 3 lengths of 10 meters, which you could just use as throwaway rope. It's just, you have a crossing, just anchor it up. We pull it across, it's there. It wouldn't matter if that rope came home or not. It's going to, but I'm saying like it would be effortless to set it up. That's 30 feet of rope that should cross any little thing like that.
I think that's a good point. And we can tie off each end already.
Yep.
So it's a matter of sending a bolt in the ground, clipping it on, and then you can just either clip your ascender on and then just slide across.
If the first person gets across and it's bolted on each side, at that point you could carabiner into it. It just runs and it's a slide. You fall,
right.
Bam, you're hanging. Okay. I throw you a rope, we pull you like a pulley, and you're back up.
That's it. Yeah, you can work that out.
Yeah.
I think that's a move.
It's solid. So
I don't think it's good. And it happens infrequently enough that to commit to it isn't committing to every 30 feet. We're having to like, every time there's a gap, every time there's anything in the ground, anchor up. It's only those situations where if something gave way, there's some sort of backup.
Yeah.
some sort of backup situation.
Contingency.
Now, we talked about some sort of a personal identification system that we leave outside of the mine should something go
Right.
bad. That if there was some timbering that got loose, because that's really the biggest danger, is not necessarily the rock, but debris. I say that based on research and other exploring.
Now we're going to take a quick break for mothers and significant others. Being that we talk about these things, the worst case scenario, not that it's going to happen, it's that in the event, on the small fraction of a percent that something did go wrong, we have a plan set in place. It's not that there's even a potential for it. There really isn't, because everything, we are so safe about everything we do. And as a collective, that risk management as a collective, when we're all assessing a situation and everyone has input, I don't think that it keeps us from doing anything ridiculous, like just obnoxiously unsafe.
I agree.
So I just need to put that note in there, because when we talk about these situations, it might sound like, oh, what are you guys doing in there,
Historically, any mine cave-in like that happens from active mining where it's active.
Yep.
But I suppose there's two sides to it, right? Some would look at it to say they're really old, therefore they're untrustworthy. Whereas I would say they've been in this condition for 100 plus years. We're not doing anything to stir it up, anything more than any other weather condition would. Or, I mean, people go in these, not all the time, but they do.
As far as the timbering they used to put in there, because of the conditions of the mine, the dryness, the temperature levels, there's no rot. There's no decay of any of the timbering I've ever seen. I have not seen decay once.
Should something go wrong, leaving some sort of beacon outside.
Yep.
That, well, what happened is we would be out of communication longer than the window that whoever we notify someone before we go in saying, you'll hear from us by this time. And it's usually double the time we expect to be in the mine.
Correct.
To give ourselves time, if we stay later, that we're not worried that someone else is worried about our well-being. Should that go over the time that we've indicated, and it develops to the point of contacting someone out, NPS, whoever, they also have our coordinates based on, okay, we're going in the Ruth mine.
Yep.
That's all in latitude, whatever. Someone's going to find our Jeep. They know the park. Whoever would be coming after us would know the park. They go to the mine. They find this beacon. What should it say? So there was some hesitation on it based on putting something out there. What was the hesitation? To not draw attention to us?
Right.
Or
right.
To not draw attention unless we needed it.
Correct. But I think it's a safe bet that on a lot of these really remote ones, you don't need to risk anyone's hiking in front of that entrance and being like, there's people in here. I'm calling the park services on these guys. I really don't think that's even a factor at all.
Probably. If we have some sort of light beacon though.
Light beacon, I don't know that we need a beacon. It just needs to be it could be a laminate that just says this is, we entered here with our names, ages,
in an emergency contact.
weight.
Call Chris Swanson at this number.
Oh, see, the thing is, Yeah, for as far as that plan, the person we're that's waiting for our contact, they need a because that's the person that's going to be like, we're calling in the man himself.
But I want to
And I
know.
would hate for him to be called too soon. Oh, that would be bad.
Yeah, that'd be a bad day. That'd be crazy.
Dude, the Marines, the Navy, and the Air Force show up, and we're like just climbing out. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
I guess we can't do this ever
My
again.
phone died. Yeah.
Actually, I would just want it to be, and this would probably be more realistic. Your dad would show up by himself, and then we'd each be individually carried out of the mine one at a time, and he'd do it in a half hour. And I'd just be over his shoulder. I remember I'd be coming to consciousness in and out up these ladders. I'd be like, it'd be crazy. I'd just feel those arms holding me. One arm as I just see him just hulking these ladders, dude. And just, and that's fine. He's got to be the man. He's got to be the phone call.
He's a phone call. And if we're inside, I want to know that when 12 hours hits, he's already been made aware.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Because I don't want to sit there and think, well, maybe in 3 days something's going to happen.
Right.
It's got to be like, okay, this is the contingency.
I don't mean to sell him short either. He's probably got two of us over his shoulder. Realistically.
Could be. We got to work out the trip coming up, whether March or July. So
I'm much more attracted to July.
really, why?
First of all, temperatures. That's a big one for me. It makes the trip a little just the temperatures. I'm more comfortable there. It's less gear. I guess if the July trip is 6 people and we do two Jeeps, logistics are different because we have so much more room in the Jeeps, but room matters. When it's the 4 of us into a Jeep, a 0-degree bag takes up a significant amount of room. Or a 15-degree bag, even a 20-degree bag, it takes up. That's a large bag, pack size. And it'd just be nice not to have to take cold weather gear, because even I'll have that bag. I'll have cold weather clothes, which are going to take up a significant amount of room in my pack out. And I really like the idea of all 4 OGs. But those 2 are new. I'm saying the core 4. Oh man, it would be cool to get another trip in. But not that it would, not that we could even manage it. But the way Chris said something to me the other day that made me think he might be able to swing a July trip. Spencer said he could probably swing a July trip. He's the one who suggested the weekend in the first place, and that excited me. Now, the March trip will still be, it'll be awesome. It'll be a blast. And the pro to that is that we won't have 6 people. Because the management of the trip in July with 6 people becomes significantly more the planning, because now we have to plan just the recon part. We have to plan 2 routes. We have to create a checklist. And when I say we, I see you smiling because everybody knows you have to do so much more work with the planning there, because you'll have to plan stops, which mines to hit first. You'll have to plan enough routes. Like, so what if we knock them out really fast? Well, then you're going to go and jump over here and hit these if you have time. So there's a lot more to that part of it. The 6 people in a mine makes the mines go significantly longer.
Move slower.
Yeah, we'll move way slower,
slower.
with 6.
You're going to go up and you're going to wait for 30 minutes.
That's 5 people. Yeah.
Yeah. There's one thing I wanted to add before we close. Oh, yeah. We just did some climbing with George.
Yep.
Give me your takeaway from that event.
I'm excited for you to get to know George a little bit more. Because if you didn't know his age, you wouldn't be able to guess it. Visually, you'll be able to get in the realm. Well, that kid's special. He's not normal. He's not a normal human being. He's built to adapt to and handle anything, right? He's excited about adventure, and living life to the fullest. So a situation like this, he gets as fired up about it as we do. The idea of just coming to the warehouse, throwing a rope up and learning the techniques, if that's all he ever did, that was worth it for him. If he never went on the trips doing that one time, he's going to want to come out here and do that again sometime. You know what I mean? But if that was it, man, he was just excited and stoked just to do that. And I feel, knowing him and seeing what he handles on a daily basis, you could throw anything at that kid and he'll learn it and he'll master it in a very short period of time.
See, that was what I picked up on is his fluency after I gave him one instruction, and then he just worked it out himself.
Comfortable.
Yeah.
I'd say he was comfortable, which is huge.
We set a rope. How high? What do you say?
20 plus, 25?
Probably.
25?
And then maybe even more than that. And then,
well, I'm not sure.
He went up a couple times.
Ask me how tall that flagpole is, and I'll probably be off a little bit.
I'll use my geometry to resolve it.
Get a laser in a 45 degree.
In a right angle.
Right angle.
He went up a couple times, I think. There's a sweet shot. I sent it to the group chat of you. He's like hanging up there.
I saw that with the helmet.
Man, dude, like seeing him in that environment of us doing the rope work, he seemed like a pretty seamless addition.
Yeah. His responsibilities and the things that he has to do on a daily basis pale in comparison to anything I'll ever have to deal with in my entire life. Which makes him, that's pretty significant.
Awesome. We'll wrap. We'll probably do one more before we go on the trip.